Hello first grade, so today we are going to create a fall pumpkin, and our learning objective for this assignment is to understand how the primary colors mix to make the secondary colors.
So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a large piece of paper, and I need you to write your name and the day you have art, day A, day B, day C. You're going to flip it over, keep your paper horizontal, not vertical, horizontal, and you're going to start with a large, tall oval in the middle of your paper. I would like your pumpkin to fill the paper, so you have your pumpkin to be as large as it possibly can. So you're going to draw an oval in the middle of your paper with pencil. If you struggle to draw ovals, then you're going to want to press lightly with your pencil and not press hard so that you can erase if you make a mistake. And then to finish off one side of the pumpkin, you're going to start with a curved line that starts near the top of the oval, curves up a little bit, then back down, and then curves up a little bit back to the oval. So that this curved line is touching the top and the bottom of the oval. And you're going to do another one of those, touching the curved line that you just did. And see how I've brought that line close to the edge of my paper. I want your pumpkin to be as large as it can be, and notice I've left some space at the top and a less space at the bottom because the top is where I'm going to add my stem. So now I'm going to draw two more curved lines, but on the left side of my pumpkin, to draw the left side of my pumpkin. So you can see these spaces are a little bit bigger than that, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfectly spaced out. So then this next one that I'm going to do, I'm going to make it wider so that it gets closer to the edge of my paper. So now I have a really large pumpkin filling my paper. I need to add a stem. So if you drew your pumpkin really close to the top and the bottom, then your stem will be a little bit shorter than maybe my stem, and that's okay. All pumpkins grow differently. There's not two pumpkins that are exactly the same, so it's okay if your stem doesn't match mine. So what I did for my stem was I drew two curved lines and then a straight line to close it off. So now that my pumpkin is complete, I'm going to use an oil pastel to trace over my pencil lines. I want you to go slow and press hard with the oil pastel. So go slow and follow your pencil lines. If you miss a pencil line, then just make the black oil pastel line a little bit thicker. Now the oil pastel is going to get on your hands, and that's okay. We'll clean up after we're finished. I'm trying to press down hard to make a nice heavy black line, and I just missed my pencil line at the top, so I'm going to show you what to do if you miss your pencil line. So I missed my pencil line right up here, so I'm just going to make this part of my pumpkin, the black, a little bit thicker, and that's okay, no worries. So I'm turning my paper around because I'm right-handed, and I find drawing the lines curved to the left is easier and more comfortable for my hand. So when I'm doing the oval here, I just turn my paper upside down so I can still get the side of the oval. All right, so this is finished, and this is our first paper, so we're going to set this aside, and then you're going to get a small paper. This is where we're going to add our leaves for our pumpkin. So you need your name on this paper. And the day you have art. Flip it over. And you're going to draw 3 large leaves filling your paper. So starting at the top, middle, I'm going to draw a curved line and a curved line to the right. A nice big ellipse shape or football shape, lemon shape. Now if you draw these really skinny or small, you're going to have to do more than 3 leaves because I want you to have enough leaves filling this paper. So if you draw your leaves really small, you might have to do 6 leaves. So I'm only going to do 3, and then I'm going to add a line up the middle of each leaf to look like the vein of the leaf that carries the water to the edge of the leaves. So then you're going to trace with oil pastel, again, pressing hard, staying on top of your pencil lines, and if you miss a pencil line, you'll just make that black line a little bit thicker. So you'll give the oil pastel back to me, and you'll probably have a little bit of oil pastel in your hands. You'll need to wash at the sink with soap and water. And now you have a large pumpkin and a small paper of leaves, and you're ready to start painting and mixing the primary colors to make the secondary colors. Alright, so you're going to set the small paper aside, and you're going to go back to your pumpkin paper. And you're going to get a water basin, a sponge, and the primary colors of paint, and a paintbrush. And we're going to mix on our paper. We're not going to mix in the tray. So what two primary colors make orange? Because we're going to do an orange pumpkin. Red and yellow. So you're going to dip your paintbrush in the yellow, and you're going to paint some yellow on the pumpkin, and you want to work quickly. And I'm just going to start in the center and work each section later. Then quickly dip it in the orange, because in the red, because you only need a little red to mix with the yellow to make orange. You need more yellow than you do red. And you want to paint it in all the way, no white paper poking through. So you're going to do that again. Get some yellow on your paintbrush. I already had some red on my paintbrush, so it automatically made orange for me in this next section. So I didn't need to dip it in the red because I already had red on my paintbrush. And again, doesn't look like I need any red because this is orange. So I've still got plenty of orange on my paintbrush here. Dip it in the yellow again to do this side. Now this is very yellow. So now I can dip in the red again, just a little bit, and add that to make this section of the pumpkin orange. So now we're ready to do the stem, and we'll paint the stem brown. But does anyone know how you get brown from primary colors? What do you think? Think about it. You mix all three of them together. So I'm going to take my paintbrush that already has some orange on it, and I'm going to paint the stem orange. And it's okay that I went outside the lines a little bit because we're going to cut this pumpkin out later. So if you don't paint it perfectly inside the edges, we'll cut those rough edges off. Now I'm going to dip my paintbrush, just get a tiny bit of blue on my paintbrush, and paint the stem. The orange is red and yellow, and then adding some blue will make my stem look brownish. Now if I don't like that, I could get just a little bit more red and add that on there, but now that looks more brown. And so there is my painted pumpkin. So now I'm ready to put this on the drying rack and get my smaller paper with my leaves. But I've got all three colors on my paintbrush right now, and I don't want my leaves to be brown, so I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off. I use the teeth at the bottom of the water basin to run my paintbrush across, and then I'm going to pull it across the sponge to dry it off. And then we're going to do green leaves, so who can tell me, think what two primary colors make green? Yellow and blue. So we're going to start with yellow again because it's the lighter color. You're going to paint your leaf quickly with the yellow. And then you're going to dip it in the blue. You don't need a lot of blue. A little bit of blue goes a long way. And then you're going to paint that blue over the top and mix that yellow and blue together to get green. You're going to do that again for your next leaf. Paint yellow. And I dipped my paintbrush in the yellow, but I had enough blue on my paintbrush that I didn't need to dip it in the blue. And finally my last leaf. And it looks like I still had enough blue on my paintbrush to get a nice green leaf. It's a yellow green. It's got a lot of yellow in it, but it's still green. This one's probably the greenest, and it got lighter as I went. But I think that looks nice. 3 leaves that are different colors. And then that's how you're going to paint. You're going to put your paintbrush in the bowl of water and leave it there. And then your small paper and your leaf paper and your pumpkin paper will go. So on the second day of art, you're going to get a black piece of paper. And on the black piece of paper, you're going to use, so I'm going to use a white crayon for my name, and you'll use a white crayon for your name. You also need the letter that you have art, day A, day B, day C, and then I'm going to put that white crayon away, and then we're going to use white oil pastel for the rest of this. So I'm going to use white oil pastel to add a moon. I need to put the moon near the top of my paper because my pumpkin's nice and big, and it fills my paper, so I need to put the moon. On my finished example, I did a full moon. I did a big circle, full moon. But on this one, I'm going to do a crescent moon. I'm going to put the moon on this side. You can put the moon on any side you want. So when I draw a crescent moon, I start with a curved line that looks like the letter C, and then I draw a smaller curved line inside, touching, and then I'm going to fill this in, color this in for the moon, and the white oil pastel and the black makes it look a little gray like a real moon. And then I'm going to add some dots for stars because it's nighttime. Alright, and the first step to completing my ball paper pumpkin is to cut out my pumpkin. When you cut your pumpkin out, I want you to leave the black line. So I want you to cut on the outside of the black line, follow right along the edge. I don't want you to cut way out here and leave all this white. I want you to cut right next to the black. So this is going to be a little tricky. You got to be careful to get in all these little spaces. Now I'm going to put a frame of glue on the back of my work. I'm going to flip this over very carefully. I'm going to move my black paper out of the way. I'm going to put a frame of glue on the back of my pumpkin. So a frame of glue all the way around the back of my pumpkin. I'm going to flip it over very carefully with two hands. I'm going to glue this right onto the middle of my black paper. I don't want to have it too high up or hanging off or crooked. So I'm going to glue my pumpkin on, and it's going to overlap the moon a little bit, and that's okay. And then I'm going to cut out my leaves. And again, I'm leaving the black line. So I'm cutting on the outside of the black line so you can still see that black line when you cut it out. And then you get to arrange your leaves along the bottom any way you want. And again, you're going to do a frame of glue with the leaf. Flip your leaf over, put a frame of glue right along the outer edge. And I'm going to glue one leaf on here. And try not to have your leaves hang off the black paper. And this is a nice big leaf, so I'm going to put that down first and maybe have this smaller leaf overlap it a little bit. We need to add the moon highlights to the top of our pumpkin. These highlights here, and notice how the highlights go up and down, and they're just across the top of our pumpkin. They don't go all the way down the pumpkin because the moon is shining on the top of the pumpkin and we want it to look like light is reflecting. So you're going to take an oil pastel, and right on the top of your painting you're going to color this white oil pastel across just the top part of your pumpkin, and color up and down, not side to side like this, because that doesn't look as realistic as if you were to color up and down. So you're going to color up and down. And now your beautiful fall pumpkin collage, painted pumpkin, is all finished and ready to be displayed to the whole school.